It looks like we're rolling. Hello, hello. Welcome to Plutonian Shards Touch the Void, session 1 of 4. I will be the GM this evening. My name is Alexi. You can follow all of my gaming endeavors online at Cloven Pine Games. And this is a playtest of a game in development, Plutonian Shards. I'm running this game through the Gauntlet gaming community. You can learn all about the Gauntlet at gauntlet-rpg.com or at gauntletrpg on Twitter. We've got so many cool games going up each and every month on the Gauntlet, so definitely check that out. This game is a game about scoundrels in spaceships skirting the law at the frigid fringe of the solar system, and someone aboard this spaceship happens to be the last hope of the solar system. It's a game strongly inspired by media like Firefly, like Star Wars The Mandalorian, and I have been working on this for a little while, but I'm happy to be running a series here on the Gauntlet. This will be a fun experience. It's a Powered by the Apocalypse game. So if you're familiar with games like Apocalypse World, like Masks, like Avatar Legends, you know some of the basics of this, and I'll try to highlight, certainly for my players' sakes, and also for anyone who happens to be tuning in, some of the mechanical tweaks from the basic inspiration of Powered by the Apocalypse. So let me turn to my players. I'd love for players to introduce themselves, starting just by doing introductions as just yourself as a player. Tell us your name, your pronouns if you wish, online handle if you so desire. I'll do a round to start. I'm Alexi, he, him, and you can follow all of my gaming endeavors, including my work on Plutonian Shards, at Cloven Pine Games. Now that we have a character keeper order, we can go in character keeper order. Jim, will you tell us a little about yourself?
Yeah, hey, I'm Jim Crocker. I generally use he, him pronouns, but if you're using they, them more generically, that's totally fine with me too. I run and play a whole lot of games on the Gauntlet. I'm a game store owner and retailer of indie role-playing games and have been for many, many years. I'll be at PAX this coming weekend, PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia, selling on behalf of my friends in Indie Press Revolution. So I'm really looking forward to that. But if you've seen me out in the world, because you follow games, that's probably where you've seen me is, you bought a game from me at some point at Gen Con or Origins or something like that. This is not a game. I've played a whole lot of games, but I've not played this one yet. I'm really looking forward to it. Alexi and I have played a whole lot of games together, including like play testing each other's stuff and all that kind of thing. So this is, kind of like coming home, and, I always enjoy playing these games on the Gauntlet. If you're interested in finding out what I'm doing with my gaming stuff, I'm on Twitter at Jim Likes Games, just like it sounds. And I'm on Facebook as Jim Likes Games Crocker. And I've got like a semi-irregular Substack newsletter and some old podcasts where I talk about games I've played. And like, if you follow me on Twitter or Facebook, you're going to hear about all the games I play every week. That's basically what I'm there to talk about. So
good to be playing with you again, Jim. Next up, let's see. Brian, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I am Brian, he, him, and pretty much the only thing you're going to see is just me playing in other people's Gauntlet games. I have one credit on Hack the Planet, but I can never remember what it is without looking it up. So, that's about it. I guess maybe you've seen me at Big Bad Con. I've been going to that for a few years, although not the last couple of years, but that's about it for me.
Here's hoping it's safe and prudent to be at many more conventions in the coming year and years. Good to be playing with you, Brian. Let's see, Danielle, you're up next. Tell us a little about yourself.
Yes, I'm Danielle, she, her, and I have I'm also still at kind of RPG enthusiast stage. I haven't written anything. I'm working on a teaching certificate and right now, but I have enjoyed being in Alexi's games before on the Gauntlet, which has been a lot of fun, and also playing with a few of you I haven't played with, so I'm looking forward to this. And so things have been really busy, so I haven't been able to be in some Gauntlet things recently, but I'm hoping to get back in a little bit more. So that is me.
glad you're joining us for this, Danielle. And to be clear, it's not a requirement to have designed or published games. Game designers would be nowhere without people, playing the games. Anyway, last but not least, Brandon, please tell us a little about yourself.
Hi, I'm Brandon. I was a longtime tabletop and LARP enthusiast. For many years, I've written 7 LARPs and 1 play, never a tabletop game. But I do adore them, especially science fiction, especially high drama things. And this is just my cup of tea. I'm so glad you're reading it.
I think you've come to the right place here, because we are absolutely in this sci-fi world focused on some of the trust and tension amongst this crew. In fact, in just a moment, we'll be handing out trust and tension tokens to kind of build our relationships here. So is everyone feeling kind of ready to do an initial introduction of their characters? We've had people pick out playbooks, and then some more things will come to light as our crew comes together. But are people feeling ready to just give us the thumbnail sketch of the character they're playing as part of this crew of scoundrels? Hearing no objections, Jim, will you tell us a little bit about your character?
Yes, I am. I'm the Fallen, and that means once long ago, my order kept hope alive in the solar system. Is there any of that fabled spark left in me, or am I but a broken relic? And that's what we're going to play to find out, everybody. I think. But Kadence, I am savvy and I am strange. My coping mechanism is to confess a secret fear or shame of my order or my time with it. So I love these games where we build our backstory through flashbacks like that. That's a thing that I'm really going to be looking forward to. So I don't know anything about my order right now, other than it's
fallen.
You said, yeah, it's fallen. I'm whatever, the last of the Space Knights or something like that. So I've got a couple of abilities that have to do with one of which is when we meet NPCs, there's a chance that I may know them from the old days. And the other is that I get some kind of a wicked cool, like ancient weapon that is better than a blaster. And I don't think I'm spoiled for choice there. So I don't know if I'm going to actually know that until the fight actually happens. But I've got a few ideas. I have chosen, we're going to choose our crew roles later, but just so that everybody can get a sense of where I'm going with this, I've chosen a picture of Michelle Yeoh as the Mirror Universe Emperor from Star Trek Discovery as my player character picture there. So that's I think we'll be leaning in that direction. So
all right, very nice. Good to meet Kadence, and I'm excited for us to play to find out more together. Brian, you're up next. Tell us a little about the character you have here.
Yeah, I'm playing Hoyt, he, him, and Hoyt is the Neophyte. You're new to this, barely off your out-of-the-way scrap heap of a planetoid. Will you fulfill your dreams among this hard-bitten crew?
Yeah. So what has brought Hoyt, off of his kind of place of origin and into this line of business?
Yeah. I mean, in ignorance of how bad an idea that might be the main component.
so mostly because he has this kind of rosy picture of what life as a scoundrel is like. Has he chosen it for himself?
Yeah, I think so.
Fantastic. Anything else we should know about Hoyt?
That's everything I know about Hoyt so far.
So he's from a podunk planet, or?
Yeah.
I think the playbook even says planetoid to emphasize it's not even a full planet.
Scrap heap of a planetoid. So
Yeah, some like little mining colony that's like, you know, the 43rd largest moon of Jupiter or something like that. That's, you know.
A piece of the 43rd largest moon of Jupiter.
Yeah, maybe just an asteroid that's it's not even a destination. It's like a stop on the way. It's like the equivalent of like a trucker stop on a highway.
Nice. So he comes from a asteroid truck stop. Do you have family still there, or is there you know, nothing kind of
No,
nothing left
family.
for you? Yeah.
There's probably family still there.
Okay.
He left so that he didn't have to work the grill for the rest of his life.
Nice. Anything else you're thinking, or shall we move on to the next scoundrel?
Nope, I'm good.
Then I think it's to you, Danielle. Will you tell us about the character you've been starting to put together here?
Okay, I'm inserting, hopefully, a picture. Oh, wait, let's see if the URL works. So I'm playing the Prodigal. Ooh, that's a whack size, but we'll figure it out. I'm playing the Prodigal, and that the description is that you are a part of one of the best known families of the galaxy, and you are a constant disappointment to them. So you are out here to maybe prove them wrong, prove yourself right. And I am playing Eris Dronomir, who you'd mentioned and I don't know, obviously, like the timeline of the schedule that you were thinking, Alexi, but you were talking about the terrible terraforming accident, and I assume that there might be still some kind of terraforming family dynasty, I'm hoping,
That's
in the
awesome.
area, that I would love for Eris to be potentially was being groomed to take a large role with them, but I think was on a ship out, wanted to really get out and see, okay, but what is it really, and wanted to get in and out, traveling through the void or by the void, and caught either had one of those mysterious experiences herself, but was just incredibly curious about what terraform the area actually means and everything like that. And she asks too many questions to be suitable, essentially, but also just kind of didn't like being told what to do, and didn't like that there were just, most of it didn't have anything to do with the job. Most of it was being in meetings with other space businessmen who have come here from other planets and don't know the area anyway, and you have to float around, and being treated more as a figurehead than as anybody who knows anything about the company. So she
didn't like the schmoozing.
Did not like the schmoozing, because anytime she started doing it, she was just told people exactly what she thought, and that didn't go over too well.
I love this. I love this rebellious heir to a terraforming dynasty. I guess my question is: are you thinking that the Dronomir family are like known to be connected to the terraforming accident that shattered the planet Pluto, or is that something where no one's claimed responsibility for that incident in the settings past?
I think that they started up business in the area. The date is suspiciously close to right after when it was.
Cool.
And people are like, oh, of course not. That was far in the distant past. Nobody could possibly have started. That definitely wasn't our first entry into this area before we incorporated as a company. But
okay. That is good to know. And exciting to have the Dronomir heir on board this ship as she tries to figure out.
I definitely think she does have siblings, so I think that there are siblings who are able to be chosen from to take over. So it wasn't just her. I don't think it was that she was the youngest and kind of went like, I'm forgotten, so I'm gonna leave. But like she had a shot at it.
Okay, so there are other candidates, but it's not the sort of thing where no one is wondering, what she's up to, if she's not, picking up the family business.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm excited to see more of Eris and who knows, maybe some of her family will turn up. This is great. Thank you for introducing her, Danielle. Did the picture go through for you?
I think so.
Nice.
Yes, I'm gonna get a slightly closer one.
That's all right. Just sharing it for a moment. So if anyone watching along can see a little inspiration image here for Eris Stranomir. All right. Last but not least, Brandon, please tell us about your character.
Rose, which is a coined name from the designation RS2, is a miracle of science and engineering technology. She appears as a perfectly beautiful human woman with her face deliberately marred by metallic scars or sutures across her cheeks that make it impossible for her to pass as a normal human being without a great deal of preparation.
And that's a deliberate thing to make her make it clear she's artificial.
Part of her design to make it clear that she's artificial. I'm not sure yet whether she's entirely synthetic or she's a human being so cybered up it's hard to tell whether there's anything human left. The distinction may be moot. If she's synthetic, she's a biosynth. So she was created out of optimized biological materials. Rather than plastic and metal.
Though it sounds like there is some metal going on.
Well, she has implants.
Yeah.
For sure, because you do. I think originally I was thinking that she was created as a weapon, but actually I think, given the setting, she was created as a subject for void experiments.
Wow.
Someone had a laboratory and they wanted to explore the interface between biologicals and the void, and she was created as a durable platform to perform experiments on.
That's incredible.
She originally was entirely on board with this, of course, having been created for the purpose.
Sure.
But something happened to change her mind and view this as something undesirable. And right now, she is runaway property. Her owners are almost surely trying to repossess her, as she is priceless.
Does she know who those are, or are they a mysterious group that has yet to be, to have a name associated with them?
She knows the scientists who she worked with in the laboratory. But that doesn't mean. But it was a large, very, it was a big corporation, or perhaps one of your Uber technologists.
Yeah, could be.
You mentioned, and so she would hardly know everyone that was involved.
She doesn't know, the money men behind it or anything like that. Nice.
No. There's no reason that they would have given her that information, unless she found out by accident. It's perfectly likely here that someone here aided and abetted her in this theft. She has had
where a trust token comes from.
She has had great trouble in not just thinking of herself as property and a thing, which is why her pronouns are she and it.
But nice. has she always had sentience then from her? It's not like a recent thing.
No, she's always been sentient.
Okay.
And she didn't grow up. She's a created thing. Her memories abruptly start. I mean, she has an enormous amount of background information that was given to her in order to be a good experimental subject.
Oh, okay.
But but she she was always awake. Maybe there was a time before she was sentient, and she just doesn't have any real memory of that.
Yeah.
And it's also possible, as I said, that she was created from the template of a person, but she doesn't know who that person was.
I like leaving this open, especially since the character herself or itself isn't totally clear about all of the elements that might comprise her.
Absolutely.
It's great take on the prototype.
I'm glad you like it. Yes, and she has her précis is you're different from the other robots in this case. Are you becoming more human or something beyond human? And this is especially telling because one of her special moves is called Calculator.
Mm.
Or was on one session when disaster strikes, you can declare that this eventuality was a simulation. And that what we all thought just happened was just actually a dry run.
Yeah, that is always an exciting move to see fire off. A good one to highlight.
And of course, given the void, it might, the idea that it's a reality hiccup might even be true.
We're getting into some amazing sci-fi head games already. Let's get some crew roles here, right? We know the people who are going to be comprising this crew. Let's find out how they fit together. So here's the thing to know. You're going to pick out crew roles. These will, in many cases, give you a bonus to a stat as well as some kind of move associated with the role. The thing is, every crew has to have a captain, and every crew has to have a last hope of the solar system, and they cannot be the same person. So if you're picking roles and nobody's picked captain yet, and it's getting towards the end, you might be like, "Oh, I see. Someone's going to have to be captain unless I take being captain, right?" And we can kibitz a little bit. We can chat it through, but the rules say there's got to be a captain, got to be a last hope. All the other roles are technically optional, though they do help, right? Like having a pilot helps with doing evasive maneuvers. But you don't need to have a pilot if nobody's excited to take that role. I think there's 10 roles total, and 8 of them are going to get drafted. I want to mix it up as far as how the order we're going. So I'm going to start with Danielle and Eris. Eris, you get first pick. What is a crew role that calls out to you?
Man, there's so many great ones. I am curious, what is a negotiator? Is that just like person who finds stuff or who gets on the comms when we're in a sticky situation? Or
yeah, if you pull that up, it says when you mind your manners in and navigate a social situation involving multiple NPCs, roll with warm. On a hit, you charm or beguile someone of your choice. On a 7 to 9, someone else is seething with jealousy or resentment. On miss, you commit a terrible faux pas, right? So it's the like dealing with people, especially dealing with kind of the whole like social scenes. Gives the crew some ability to navigate kind of politics, broadly speaking, in the sense of how people relate and all that. Is that something you're interested in?
I kind of like it. Like I know that I said that part of the reason why she left is like that she doesn't like that kind of thing, but I think she got a lot of good training in it. So I think it's one of the skills that she definitely has.
Right. You don't have to like deploying every skill your family instilled you with.
You can be really good at something you hate doing. That's totally awesome.
Yes.
Brandon, I'm going to turn to you next. What is a crew role that you're interested in?
I think I would like to take Last Hope of the Solar System.
Great.
I knew it. I was gonna vote for you.
I think it just fits especially after hearing the other characters. It just fits too well.
Yeah. So Rose is the last hope of the solar system. The move doesn't tell us very much about what that means. It just means she's the last hope, and somehow she knows it. So we'll play to find out more about that. But go ahead and pick that out. Jim, to you next. Any roles that you think you want to lay claim to for Cadence?
Stowaway.
Stowaway. She stowed away. Nice.
But it's also got that, like I said, one of my favorite things about some of these games is building backstory by flashbacks and just asserting stuff. And that's one of those roles that very much has that built in. So explain how I learned a useful trick back in the day, and then go from there. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Nice. You've got a number of ways now to backfill interesting incidents. Fantastic. Brian, I'm turning to you. You're going to get to pick two because you are the turning point of the snake draft. So
Okay.
you pick one and
Can
then
I
pick the next one.
If we have a captain, do we also can have a pilot too, or is if the one person is both of them, it doesn't matter?
Sorry. So there
Seems like
has
they're
to be
separate.
Yeah, there has to be
Yeah.
a captain, and there has to be a last hope.
Okay.
Pilot is just one of the other roles, and if nobody picks pilot, it just means that you all take turns at the helm or whatever, right? If nobody picks cook, it means there's no one who's like doing that in particular, right? Like the roles are all optional except for last hope and captain. But yeah, did you have a pitch for Hoyt for?
I feel like it would be so great if you were the pilot, for sure. Like, I feel like if you were great at flying things and that's what got you off. And if that is too cliche, feel free to go with whatever else you want to do.
Yeah, Brian, what do you think?
Pilot. No. I guess I'm thinking about who's going to be the captain.
I think we should all think about that.
It can't be Rose.
Basically, it can't be Rose. A stowaway becoming the captain is a little bit weird.
But it's also hilarious.
True.
We might have an explanation as to what happened to the previous captain. No, I mean, seriously,
Oh, yeah. Like, maybe our captain just died, so we have to anoint somebody. Yeah. If you're looking at captain, that could be really.
So here's the other thing, which is that if you look at what the captain does mechanically, when a crew member must keep it together before they roll, you can coach them through it by spending an edge. They stay focused and avoid disaster. That could totally be like the super enthusiastic young guy going, "We can get through this. You can do it. Come on. Yeah, let's do this." Like, that totally would be, like, it's not like Captain Kirk style, like stiff-spined leadership.
Yeah.
But that kind of but like the rest of us are also jaded that his, youthful energy compels us forward to do stuff.
it could work. But
the move is definitely open to different leadership styles being slotted in, right? Like, it could come from a more like stoic experienced place, or it could come from that enthused place. Absolutely.
I have a mild preference for Hoyt not to be captain, but it's up to Brian.
Neophyte captain is definitely a kind of strange combination. So only go for it if you're feeling up for it, right?
I do like that they all have different mechanical benefits, so you kind of have to click on all of them to be like, ooh, maybe I want to add this too. Like, I do like that cook is an advantage while being cold.
Yeah.
Gunner.
Helps
Yeah.
helps get your crew through those long journeys. And the
Yeah,
idea is in the physical version of the game, there'd be a deck of cards you're looking through, passing along, right?
Okay.
A little more tactile than the drop-down menus in the Google Doc. Yeah, Brian, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, Cook is the most obvious like match with the backstory I have so far. But I don't know.
Oh, really?
That's fun. Yeah.
But
Like
I don't
it.
know.
It's okay if you don't
Then
want
the other
to.
thing may have been a kind of discovered talent, something you didn't know you were good at until you tried it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
It also bumps your warmth to 2. So having those stats at 2, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe you kept the grill from breaking. No,
Are you pitching
okay.
mechanic?
no, I'm just tossing things out.
They're not bad. They're not bad.
Yeah, because truckstop could fill a lot of those different roles, and I guess because you have to pick 2 in a row, then.
I will go.
Or a medic, or the medic.
Yeah,
That's stacking warm a little too much, but
I'm thinking of going that. Just Cook medic.
Oh yeah, just you're
Really good.
very focused on taking care of people.
Unless you want to be, honestly though,
Sounds
unless
good.
you would like to be the negotiator, because that's also +1 warm. In which case, I could pick something else, and then
you got
You
negotiated.
already took it. You already
Okay.
took it. Once we're
they're all good
So-
choices, Brian.
so having played with Brian, and I love Brian. Don't present Brian with more options than he's already got.
I resonate. That's why I am enabling. That's what I. That is me.
Cook medic.
Cook and medic. Nice.
Perfect. That's
All
awesome.
about keeping people full and patching them up.
Great combo.
I love it. All right, then moving back along, Cadence. In some ways, your choice here also, potentially determines Eris's choice.
It sure does. Let me see here. Let me look at that. I'll be the pilot. Congratulations,
Okay.
Captain.
Oh boy,
Eris,
okay.
how do you feel about being captain? You don't get a choice in the matter, but you can choose how you feel about it.
Yeah, no, I think that I think that I'm relieved that we found somebody who can fly in the hold. Clearly, I think that I think that
Did she start off as the captain, like, or do we want to go with there was a previous captain that's gone and you've stepped up?
Oh.
I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that part of the running away from the family thing was kind of like grab ship, go out, it's kind of a thing, and grab the Ferrari and drive it out, stolen out of the garage.
Got it.
Sort of a thing. And I've been picking up people on the way, but
so just the crew has kind of like come together.
You've accreted, you've accreted, orphans.
Yeah.
Accrued a crew. Beautiful. All right. Congratulations, Captain. And Rose, what other crew role are you going to take?
I'm open to suggestion. The most obvious choice is mechanic.
Yeah. Some kind of affinity for the operations of machines. Absolutely.
Just encyclopedic knowledge of technology, probably, if nothing else.
Are the other remaining ones
maybe
Enforcer and Gunner?
Enforcer doesn't really work with the character concept, and Gunner's okay.
Mechanic. I kind of love that we don't have anybody that's like a big, like a grunt.
Okay.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I think
situations.
mechanic, and yeah, she knows a lot about machinery, and maybe there's just a weird little bit of machine empathy in there somewhere. That's built into her ineffable, pseudoneural circuits.
I like it. All right, we have a crew. We have roles. Looking at the time, I think maybe we'll take our first break here, and when we come back, kind of be, get psyched for passing around trust and tension, because that'll be the next thing. So let's take 10 and be back at a quarter past the hour to do some trust and tension. All right. How's everybody doing? Nice. I love these characters so far, and I'm excited to connect them up. So I'm going to go backwards across this character keeper this time. Rose, which crewmate are you going to give a trust token to? And which are you going to give a tension token to? And this just represents kind of, what's at the forefront of your mind at the moment, right? Why you someone you trust particularly or feel tension towards, when our story begins.
Okay, well, I'm going to toss out two people here. I'll ask anyone, but I guess it's particularly with regards to our captain.
Mm-hmm.
Did you break me out of the laboratory where I was in?
I like that. I was wondering if something was similar, like, and if this is saying too much of your, like what you want to find out, let me know. But I was wondering if maybe one of the things that keyed me off of leaving is stumbling across some kind of like void experimental wing of the company. And I don't know, like some sort of top secret thing that was happening, and I just helped break you out and ran away, or if maybe I was just driving by and ran across,
I think that's great. Have you named the company yet?
I have not.
I mean, I assume it's just Dranomir terraforming, right? Like it's got your name on it, right?
Yeah, I think that I probably just go by Eris normally when I'm on the ship. Like I probably do not haul the last name out very often, but I'm not traveling under a, pseudonym of any kind.
Alias, yeah.
That makes sense.
Omitting the surname.
I like that. I like that very much. They're right. You happened upon the laboratory when, visiting some obscure outpost, and was struck by Rose, and it's up to you what exactly spoke to you. I probably haven't had this conversation yet. But something you said, and we'll figure out what this is, made Rose decide to leave suddenly. I mean, but it may not, or maybe not suddenly. Maybe you had a conversation. You can decide if you visited the lab clandestinely over a period of time, or if it was just a weird spur of the moment thing. What do you like?
Okay, yeah. I think it was probably a specific conversation, and I'm wondering if it was me seeing this after pressing the company and pressing some of the other higher ups about investigating the void and what we're doing, how that interacts with the void, and then seeing that they were already putting out secret feelers about it. I think that I probably I probably just asked Rose, like, I know that you're doing important work here, but wouldn't you like to get out and see it for yourself? Just kind of like, wouldn't you like to go see all of it?
And I think Rose said you would take me. And when you said yes, she said the master code for the security door is, and she rattled off.
That's great.
Yeah.
I like it
because she had overheard it, enough times.
Okay.
So you would know that, right? That basically Rose was being used as a
guinea pig.
Well, as basically a void knot. They were exposing her to a hard void much more than a human being could take, which is why she was made grown. Use your favorite verb. And so I'm going to give, I will give Eris a trust token.
Yeah, so folks, take a look down at the advancement section of your character column in the keeper. Go ahead and write your crewmates' names in for crewmate 1, 2, 3. There's no crewmate 4 at the moment, unless someone is a guest star later in the series. Write your crewmates' names in, and then when you are giving someone trust or tension, go to the bottom of their column and choose trust or tension from the drop-down list next to your name. This is my slightly kludgy way of putting this into a Google Sheet. In the physical version, you'd be handing out cards, right? But here you're going to pick from the drop-down menu.
Okay, so you do it in their character?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Would
Eris.
anyone?
Yeah. Go for it.
Would anyone mind if I lock the top 4 rows so that when we scroll down, we have our names are still up there?
Oh yeah, that's fine by me.
Okay. Freeze up to row 4. There we go. Cool. That's
And
very
now they
helpful.
stick
Thank
around.
you.
Yeah. So Rose, you can go ahead and pick out trust next to your name. Yep, under Eris. And who do you have tension with, Rose? Or feel tension towards, I guess. We'll see if it's mutual.
I'll just put out there that one of the tenets of my order is that the void is going to lead to Armageddon, and that anybody studying it is almost certainly hastening that.
Yes.
So
and I'm worse than someone studying it. I am a repository of data on the void human interaction. So I was going to give it to you anyway, but now you've given me an even better reason.
So you've picked up some sense of disquiet, Rose, from Cadence.
Instant reflex antipathy, maybe even that carefully smoothed over.
Nice. All right, that's some trust and tension. Eris, whom do you trust? Which crewmate are you going to give a trust token to, and which is going to get a tension token from you?
Oh boy. I think that I set out on this clearly. With Rose, I think it was more spur of the moment than not, and I think that it was stopping at a truck stop and getting some food that I was just doing the math in my head of like, okay, all right, so what are we gonna do? This is gonna be a big deal, and I think that maybe we had there was this really helpful young dude kind of making just some really great hash browns, and because I was raised rich and I don't know any different, I'm like, are you interested in doing this like long term, out on the road somewhere? How free are you right now, and how much money would it take for you to be free right now? Is that okay, Brian?
Yep, sounds perfect.
So you just you hired Hoyt right on the spot, and you're giving him a trust token for going along with you, for believing in you.
Well, yeah, I guess what would his reaction to that be, and or was this something he was considering beforehand, or?
Oh, I mean, he wanted to get the heck out of here, but his plan, there were several steps away, and then you just shortcut all of it. It's like, oh, great, that's.
And I think the way that
I was gonna have to study in school and get good grades, and then get accepted somewhere, and it was gonna be it was gonna be so much work. And then boom, we're just out there. Great, perfect.
And I think somebody who can make the best hash browns in the galaxy. There's a lot of trust. I feel like I would innately trust somebody who can make
You want to put that on his sheet and not your sheet, because you're giving it to him.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Though if it turns out he trusts you back, he can pick out trust on the bottom of your sheet. Who do you feel tension towards, Captain?
Now, is tension, can that just mean like uneasiness too? Like a sense of like, I'm worried about this
It can.
situation?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, is this okay, Brandon? Or
it
is this
absolutely is. No, I was just thinking that if that actually Rose is, is in the uncanny valley to a certain degree, right? She is clearly, something designed to look almost exactly, but not quite like a person.
Right.
And furthermore, she has had experiences that nobody has ever had.
Right. She was created so nobody would have to have them.
And so yes, if everybody has tension with Rose, that would only be appropriate.
I would definitely love it. I just feel like it's even not even so much on Rose's own, like
No, Rose doesn't. Also, Rose doesn't expect anybody should actually like her. Because why would they?
No, I think that it's more she's worried about what has already maybe happened to you and what the company has built into you, because I think it's more like you represent something, an unknown piece, and she knows too much about the people who created you to feel 100% comfortable. Like she took you
sounds
with
good
her.
To me.
Yeah, she took you with
Right.
her not because because she knew it would be worse if she left you there, but still yet is kind of uncertain as to like what might happen. Like you might just pop out with something, not even of your own. Yeah.
Yeah, there's all sorts of
it's that subtle difference between rescuing you and not wanting you to fall into the wrong hands. That's
but there's also the fact that who knows, who knows what a one of a kind synthetic is capable of.
I guess we will play to find out.
I mean, one of my big character questions is am I really a person? So yes, absolutely. Lay it on.
There's that tension. Hoyt, you're up next. Someone you trust, someone you feel a tension with.
Yeah, I mean, I think I trust Eris. She gave me the gig.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to have it. And the tension could go either way between the other two characters, but I think Kadence came in here, stowed away,
yes,
and stole the pilot seat just because they know how to fly the ship. Like that's fair. Coolest job on the ship.
So Hoyt was interested in being the pilot?
I mean, he had dreams. He had no ability, but he had dreams. So
that justifies a tension token in my book. And it's probably good for someone to feel tension. Be a character who's stowed away on this ship. Great. Okay, so that's a that you handed a trust to the captain. And attention to Kadence. That makes sense. So Kadence, whom do you trust and whom do you have tension with?
I think I'm just gonna lean right in and give my tension token right back to Rose, so that we've got a little mutual side eye going on there.
Absolutely.
And
mutual tension has a mechanical benefit.
It does, which
as does mutual trust, right?
Yeah.
So both of these give you different ways to interact.
Yes.
But
also it has the benefit of that the audience is shipping us right from the beginning.
There's that too. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. You know what? I want to give my trust token to Hoyt. Not so much that I trust him necessarily, like trust, but I'm completely unconcerned that he is ever going to give me any kind of problems, right? You
You're
know, like
I know him back to
trust.
front.
I trust that I do not need to worry about him.
No, that makes perfect sense. Also, he might end up being in a pupil kind of, tutelary
who
relationship
knows?
with you.
Who
so-
knows? But
Oh, she gave up tutoring along with that with the order. That's a
I like this. I like this, like arguably condescending framing of trust for this relationship, but I think it totally works for the characters as we've begun to establish them, and we'll see how things develop. Beautiful. So that's trust and tension handed out. We gotta pick a ship. Now the thing now, Eris, you have kind of specified a couple things about the ship already, which make me wonder if it's going to be a particular option from this set of ships. So if you'll see in the ships tab, there are a set of 4 ship options. They have different stats, but they're not hugely swingy, right? It's more that they kind of have a little flavor tag for each of them, right? The Major Domo, which is an old military hulk salvaged from the junk belt. The Void Weaver, an experimental craft lifted from a Starbreaker cult shipyard. The Marielle, a freighter restored by loyal crew after she was asteroid battered and the owners wrote her off. And the Pinion Wisp, a deceptively fast luxury vessel claimed as a gambling prize from a frenemy. So, so what are you thinking, Eris?
She literally said, I stole the Ferrari from the garage.
Yes.
I did, although I do think the Void Weaver could be like, I could have driven the Ferrari to the experimental place, and then Rose could have pointed me to the ship there. It depends on if we want to rock the -1 tough versus a 0 tough. But I do like having 1 savvy.
The savvy makes you better at evasive maneuvers.
That
you would need a really good pilot if you wanted to do that.
What is Cadence used to flying? Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yes.
I do like the Pinion Wisp. Does anyone have because I'm pretty sure we can make an argument for almost any of these if anyone has a really
What does
I like going hard on the you stole the Ferrari.
I want the sports
That's
car.
what you're still.
That's
what
totally
you're still
cool.
flying.
Okay. I stole the space Tesla. It's okay.
All right. I will hide the other ship options. So we've got the Pinion Wisp. And this implies to me that it was originally claimed as a gambling prize from a frenemy of your families, and then
we don't
you
have
stole
a gunner,
it from
so
your
this
family.
is probably the way to go.
Yeah. It definitely. I'm trying to decide whether or not Eris won it out of it, but I think this was probably the actual black sheep of the family who kind of spends his time adventuring and more on the gambling and swanning about.
The bon vivant of the Dragomir family.
The bon vivant, and that's why everybody's like, oh, Eris, please be reasonable. You can't be
Don't be like your uncle.
Yeah, don't be like your uncle.
Yes.
Nice.
I think if you asked Rose, which ship to take, she would say, given the fact that we are even now being pursued, I would take the fastest.
Fastest you got. And kind of on that front, let's take a glance, if you would, at the origin and mission tab, because we're going to answer a question about when our crew first worked a job together, establishing some memento that the ship has, and a little detail of kind of how the crew first started functioning as a crew. I'm going to ask a non-captain player to pick one of these. Cadence, any of these calling out to you from when our crew first worked a job together? There's pulled off a daring heist. There's survived a firefight with the pirate queen. There's acquired a strange void
You know what?
artifact.
I was muted when I was talking there. So
Oh, sorry, I was looking at a different tab. I thought you were mulling.
no, that's okay. We rescued a mysterious castaway from the cold darkness of space. Our ship has a dedicated medical bay and plus warm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Gives our medic a place to do his thing.
Is the castaway still in the medical bay, or this was kind of an original mission? So did you eventually drop off your mysterious passenger?
I mean, could I be the mysterious
It's
castaway
like,
from
was
the
it
cold
you?
darkness of space?
Oh, I see.
Or is that too like?
I like it.
Too
No,
too
that works
meta
for
or-
me.
Yeah.
What do you think, Danielle?
I like it. I like it too.
I like the idea that maybe you were the mysterious castaway, and then they thought they dropped you off somewhere, and then it turned out you had stowed away back.
Stowaway
on board.
doesn't have to be literal, right?
Oh,
It's just-
I kind of like the whole like came upon a wrecked ship, no survivors, scanned it, like flew through the wreckage just to make sure, and then took off, and then I show up in the hold like because I whatever like got on board because I was in a vac suit and just
Oh,
climbed
that's
on board.
amazing.
You
So
know,
you
whatever.
So they rescued you in a certain sense, but you also
Yes.
stowed away from a certain
Exactly, yeah.
point of view.
Does that sound cool for everybody? Does that?
I do, and might even, it might even be the thing where it's like we made a pass, obviously nothing there, and I said to Eris, I think we should look again,
Yeah. maybe
and I
one-
couldn't give a
just one
reason
more time.
why,
Yeah.
Yeah.
except
Is
just
your-
just a feeling that we ought to make another pass, and then the second time it's like, well, no, I guess I was wrong, and then
Does your order have a way of like, do you have a trance state that you can get into that like reduces your life signs to such
I
a
don't
low?
know. I don't know. Well,
That
well,
would be
I
cool.
like it.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
I have added a extra warm to the Pinion Wisp to reflect that
Sweet.
medical bay we've established. And now for the job we're going to start off with. This is just kind of what we're going to cold open on as the story begins here. I will put this to Brandon. Most recently, what have the crew of the Pinion Wisp been hired to do? So you can see the options on the Origin and Mission tab. There's smuggle living contraband past Merchant Prince Malarin's mercenary fleet. There's salvage experimental weaponry from the wreck of the freighter Agincourt. Rescue a highborn captain marooned on a dangerous asteroid after a mutiny, or shut down a malfunctioning ex-military bot endangering civilians on a remote mining outpost.
I think I'll go with the malfunctioning bot.
Fair enough. So that is the
Although they're all great, So if somebody's dying to have one of the other side, please check it.
hearing no objections. Some further elaboration on the how obviously alive or not.
Yeah. I think I like tweaking that from like I snuck onto the ship till like you found a body there and brought it into the med bay and then laid me out, and like at some point like the whatever the machine just started beeping out of nowhere. So I dig that. That's very cool.
That works by me. Works for me if it works for you. I should also say, having picked out your ship, you also have 4 debt marked on it. So Captain, I guess the question is, who have you ended up in debt with, right? Because you stole the ship, so it's not like you're paying off the ship per se, but presumably souping it up a little, like repairing it after the first time it crashed into an asteroid. Like you've ended up with some debt to work down. I'll throw out there that could be
feel like. Oh, are you asking to who it is owed?
Yeah, I was going to put that out there, but if you've got a thought already, I'm happy to hear it.
Well, I was just thinking it needs to be like the the most discrete mechanic that I could find in this galaxy, which I feel like is not necessarily the best one, and it's just the more expense that's paid to not talk about whose ship he's working on.
Oh, nice.
Can I
Nice,
tweak that to parts supplier rather than mechanic?
Yeah.
Because I
that
feel
works.
like I'm the most discreet mechanic you can find.
True. Exactly.
But on the
you
other hand,
need
many
materials to work
many
with.
materials, replacement turbines are frighteningly expensive.
Some kind of body shop that we get parts from.
Black market body shop.
Yeah. I'm going to throw out there that's probably something on the Acheron Flotilla, which is a collection of semi-reft spacecraft magnetically lashed together, serving as a sort of space station where the down and out congregate, and it's home to some of the most ingenious, tinkerers and kind of mechanics in the solar system. So probably that's where you found a discrete, not totally above board part supplier. Nice. So
And the black market angle also works in because we're pretty hopelessly wanted in so many ways. So buying things above board is not on the.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have a job you've taken on to hopefully clear some of this debt. There's a need to deal with this malfunctioning ex-military bot. The thing I'd like to do is turn to the job move, cut to the chase, which will be a nice way to kind of drop us right into things. Tell us a little about what situation our crew is in the midst of when we check in. This is, tech that I've adapted from the Blades in the Dark engagement role. Like all PBTA designers these days, I'm like, what can we steal from Forged in the Dark? Especially this, cutting to the chase type of mechanic. So what it says here is, when you want to cut forward to the midst of a job, first specify your main objective and basic approach, then have the captain roll, plus crewmates who've given the captain trust tokens. And I believe that ended up being 2. So you're in pretty good shape. When the time comes for the captain to roll, you'll be rolled +2. What could go wrong? Let's chat about those other things, though. The main objective and basic approach. Captain, what do you read as the main objective of the job you've taken?
I think that the main objective is to, let's see. I think it's probably, do we know anything about the situation that it's in? We just know that it's malfunctioning. Like, is it a robot? Like, is there any reason we would need to sneak up to it? Because I feel like whatever's the most efficient, I feel like the goal is to get in there, shut it down. So I'm not thinking of sneaking in unless it's like deep in enemy territory or something.
No kind
Obvious.
of reason to sneak in if you don't have to. So it sounds like your objective is just shut it down, fast as you can, short and sweet. Is your approach to that going to be, like fly the ship as close as you can and engage from aboard, or send a boarding party to do things slightly more delicately? Like, what's the approach, do we think?
If it's endangering civilians, I feel like it's arming us up and then kind of putting rows forward to maybe, especially mechanic wise, to shut it down, and then we are gonna be like clearing cover and space for her to doing it. So I guess guns blazing in that, like, if we have to disable, and we're and also to make sure that we're shutting anything down before it hits other people.
I see. So you're positioning yourself defensively and having Rose take point on the robot, and you feel like you can definitely trust Rose to deal with this robot, and not let her own origin kind of cloud her judgment here.
I think Rose has shown reason to trust her conscious nature. I'm more worried about like if she did something and it triggered something that exploded in her while she's there doing that. It's not like it's gonna harm the robot as much as like somebody else.
Cool. Any kind of questions or input from other crew members before we roll to see how this has begun to play out?
Makes sense. If we can, hack it back into, hack it down, it'll be intact, and even if it's not usable, it'll still have significant salvage value.
Yeah, Eris would have definitely asked Rose if she thought that she was up to doing this or, shutting it down, or if there was a different approach she would have in mind.
Rose would say, if it doesn't blow me to bits before I get near its central motivator, then I can do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds.
Yeah, I just nod and kind of like look at Hoyt and Kadence, like, and toss them both, the pistol, whatever guns we have on board, probably some just regular blasters, like target practice.
Yeah, you definitely have some plas pistols. There is something wrong with them though, because the rules specify whenever you ask for gear, the GM says yes and then tells you what's wrong with it. So I think that what you have are some slightly temperamental plas pistols in the armory aboard the ship.
Okay.
Nice. Cool. So I think that gives me what I need to see what happens when you roll. Do you have a link to the dice rolling room, which we are now about to use? I'll drop it right into our chat to make it easy. It's also in the safety and resources tab. You're going to be, so you, the captain, will roll this. So Eris, that is 2d6 plus 2.
That's an 11. Yes.
All right, off to a strong start. What that means is, on a 10 plus, it looks like clear sailing. The GM will lay out some of the initial challenges, and each crewmate can narrate how they overcame one. Then the GM will give you a clear sense of any remaining obstacles as you approach from a position of strength. So that is an exciting place to start off. I'm going to say let's take our second break here, and then after the break, I will put forward these details, and we'll get to see the crew in action. Take a whole 12 minutes and we'll be back on the hour. That sounds fun. See you then. All right, nice. How's everybody doing? Cool. So yeah, we will be dropping in to this job, and we'll see if we get to collecting payment tonight, because there's a get paid move to see how well that goes for you. But yeah, you rolled a 10 plus on that initial engagement. Yes, I saw your new character picture, Danielle. That's awesome. I like this look for Eris. It's very good. All right, so you rolled a 10 plus, and what that entails is it looks like clear sailing. The GM will lay out some of the initial challenges, and each crewmate can narrate how they overcame one. Then the GM will give you a clear sense of any remaining obstacles as you approach from a position of strength. So the first challenge was simply getting the Pinion Wisp to this little asteroid mining colony, because upon your approach, it became clear that part of the problem is that this whole place has become unstable, right? Like as you get close, you hear there's an explosion from below, right? Like part of the asteroid is just like blasted off into the blackness. It's clear that whatever they're mining is potentially volatile, and at the moment is a little bit exploding all around the asteroid. So the challenge for our pilot is safely navigating this less than ideal terrain. And you just tell me how you overcome the challenge.
Yeah. So I kind of like the idea that there's all of the, like you say, stuff is kind of exploding, and it's doing this kind of popcorn thing where it's like, and I am flying us through and kind of dodging the explosions and everything. But then I kind of, I sort of cock my head and I look at the telemetry of the explosions, and I like wave a hand and call up the little hollow that gives me the spectrographic analysis of all of the various debris,
Sure.
To figure out what's where the the stuff is going to explode the biggest and stuff. And I just kind of, with a swipe of my finger through that holograph, I just lay in the course. And I punch engage, and I just sit back and steeple my fingers. And like the ship rockets forward, and that explosion goes off just behind it, and it catches the shockwave and goes forward to where the next one explodes, and just like rides those force wave of those explosions, kind of surfing it almost just right through into the, and I'm like all I'm doing is like occasionally I'll tap the dorsal thrusters a bit just to make sure that we're still in the main current, but I basically don't even really have to do any flying here.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I think this gets the Pinion Wisp to the kind of like main mining outpost, right? The there's basically like a little settlement, right? Maybe 50 people tops, living here. Some of them miners, some of them family, some of them support, right? And they're charged with gathering this Tartarium from asteroid Eurydice 429. And as you're like coming in, over the outpost, there's suddenly a kind of swarm of buzzing drones, right? And like you see the civilians like running and ducking, right? These are clearly not friendly drones. These are sent out from the malfunctioning military bot that's caused this chaos. So the drones seem to like be converging on your ship. That is also something that seems like a bad turn of events. Captain Eris, how do you deal with this challenge?
It's more that people are fleeing around us.
It's that you have a bunch of unfriendly drones converging towards your ship, right? Little flying, mechanical guys. Each of them no bigger than a bird, but they've got little like blinking red lights on them that have a like clearly hostile cast.
Oh, great. Okay, and are they hailable on our radios?
Oh, interesting. Just like I have the sense that if you do, you won't get a lot out of them, right? It'll be just something like
so they're
something
not
like complication detected. Complication will be removed, right?
Okay. Because then I wonder if my instinct would be to call the spaceport we're flying into to be like, hey, your parking drones have gotten really out of hand here. Could you call them off? Or is this obviously like something from the robot that we are coming, like do they seem incredibly out of the ordinary, or is this like something that we'd recognize that if you haven't sent in a call sign or something, they would?
I like the idea that these may have been parking drones, but then like on the spaceport controller on the other end is like we've lost control of them. The military bot overwhelmed our system. You're just. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do from down here.
Okay, I think she snaps the radio off and is like, okay, fantastic. I think I'd look at our mechanic and be like, is there something that we can deploy? Some sort of EMP that we can shoot out? Oh, you're muted.
We have
you have one remaining EMP. That's what I'm going to say.
We can adapt one of the chaffers.
Oh, okay, yeah. You have to cobble something together to fulfill this. Sure.
Well, they're meant to scramble ship sensors, not sensors of tiny little units like these. But I will do my best. Excuse me. This unit will do her best.
She just pats you on the shoulders, like, "Thank you."
And it's going to do the trick, right? Like whatever like on the fly modifications you need to make, when you deploy this thing, and set it off, the like drones go like whirling in circles, right? Like just like completely missing the Pinion Wisp and spiraling off, above you, below you, some flying right into the explosions.
And that just to for maximum goodness of special effects, what happens is the little chaffing torpedo goes out, pauses, and a holo Pinion Wisp appears.
Oh, that's
okay.
That's
and all
great.
The drones go gun for it. Immediately firing through it and doing themselves much more damage than anything else. While the real one,
they're like colliding with
slowly,
each other as they try to both attack from different angles. This hollow version of the ship, Oh, beautiful.
And that is absolutely all punctuated by me calmly counting down, the number of seconds until we're going to get annihilated when these things reach us. Like 4 seconds, torpedo away. 3 seconds. 2, they've locked onto it. Like that kind of thing.
Nice. And you're able to bring her down, and then the next challenge is just the chaotic situation on the ground, because as I alluded to before, the miners and family members and personnel are in uproar and panic, running all around. Like, some people notice this luxury ship coming to dock in the midst of this, and some are like, kind of like rushing over, just like, grabbing the side, thinking that, they're going to like ride out of there on the side of the ship if they have to. Right. And so it's a scene of chaos. And I want to know how Hoyt is able to help with this challenge.
Yeah, I mean, most people are probably more or less headed in the right direction, like away from the murderous military drone. But there's got to be some people who look panicked and are maybe frozen or whatever. And so I'm trying to just go to them and just give them simple, like, follow that person, like just get them moving, all kind of coordinated in the same direction.
Got it. Yeah. So with some like simple interventions for folks who seem most, kind of most lost and out of it, you're able to like where you're directing them towards just other, kind of like clunky, minor craft with the hopes that they can take shelter there, evacuate. Like, what's the
yeah, just whatever, if we don't get this drone under control, it's not going to be safe, but it's the safest place for now, I guess.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So you're able to do that. There's a bunch of these people, but you've put some helped bring about some order in their efforts to reach safety. And Rose, you can tell which direction this problematic bot is in. Partially from where the explosions seem to be emanating from. Right? Do you like set off on foot, from the like mining outpost towards the towards where you sense the target is? Like, give me just the picture of that.
Yes, I do. I set off on foot, making some use of whatever use of cover is available, until I get to the point where it's pretty much just a kill zone around this thing.
Yeah, and like slightly before that, there's a challenge I'm interested in hearing how you meet, which is there's an electromagnetic field that seems to be designed to repel other synthetic or kind of sufficiently cybernetically kitted out beings from getting too close to this bot. So you feel that kind of pushing against you, right? Like that is a pressure, right? That makes it like walking through air more like walking through water or taffy,
Yes.
unless you can somehow mask yourself from the field. And I want to know, how do you rise to this challenge?
I think that I certainly don't have anything that's capable of modifying myself to the degree that would be needed to prevent this thing from playing hot with my implants. And of course, simply trying to push through this is going to make me a sitting duck for the thing that comes. I'm going to try to bypass it in space-time.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting trick to have up your sleeve.
The void doesn't track one-to-one with physical reality. And if you pick if you look at the field in the right way, it's not a continuous band of energy, but it's a set of pulses. And moving quickly, you could step between them.
It's amazing. And because this is all part of the montage of success resulting from that 10+ roll, you don't have to roll touch the void at this time to do it, though plausibly if you tried this trick again you might have to.
It's never 100% reliable, but...
Right. So Rose does a neat little void two-step to bypass this electromagnetic field.
It looks like she is standing on one side and then she flickers. and she's on the other side. Like there was a continuity error in the camera that was looking at her.
That's great. That's great. And what she sees is this, 10-foot tall, kitted out military robot, kind of human shaped in a vague sort of way, right? But like never meant to pass for human in any way, right? And it has it has a bunch of weaponry, like some slung over its back, some clearly built into its chassis, but it's using, a like kind of massive futuristic jackhammer, and intent on a, kind of outcropping of the asteroid that, as it hammers away at it, you see, you see little sparks like running over the surface of the asteroid from this, and it's clearly, this is clearly what's causing the explosions all around, but it is focused just on getting through this like particular chunk of Eurydice 429. So, and for ease of reference, we'll say the name of the military bot in question as Syntax 212, and you are now kind of within a stone's throw of Syntax 212 Rose. The last thing you get out of this move you rolled is the GM will give you a clear sense of any remaining obstacles. So I'll say that on board the ship, I'll give this to you, Kadence, because you maybe still by those pilot controls, right? Like you get the pings of a number of other ships approaching this asteroid, right? Like half dozen kind of military profiled vessels seem to be coming in. They haven't arrived yet. They're not within hailing distance, but they're on their way. So that's a bit of the lay of the land, as it were. Sound good? Captain, you're looking through a scope, keeping abreast of the situation as your crewmate has approached this other bot. We can say you have a comm link if you want to communicate. I think that's fun.
Okay, because I didn't know, especially if we're armed as backup. I didn't know how close to Rose we were.
Yeah,
If
well,
if we were way distant or.
Yeah, tell me about that. Where have you positioned yourself?
I was hoping that we maybe if some people want to be on the ship, that's fine. But I figured that I would be out with kind of Rose, but just sort of like hanging back to let her go forward for the last bit, but kind of like there as cover.
Sounds good to me. Do you say anything to Rose as you take in the situation?
I think I'm just I think that I'm sort of viewing it, and and I kind of put a hand on her shoulder, and I'm like, this may not look like something that you have been trained for, but I trust that you can be creative under the right circumstances. She's like, I know you've got it in your pocket.
Rose, what do you do?
I have to get to where its control unit is, and it is incredibly strong, but it is not made for close-in defense. So I'm going to basically go move as fast as I can. And jump up onto its superstructure, climb up to where the control unit is, and see if I can plug into it.
Okay. Give me a. Is it possible you're trying to throw your weight around to deal with physical barriers as you?
This is
do-
more like unleashing an uncannily deft attack.
Oh, interesting. All right, so this is a prototype move.
This is a prototype.
Synthetic sinews, hoping to capture or disarm an enemy. That is an interesting one to deploy. Yeah, you could go ahead and roll plus tough. So 2d6 plus 1 for your tough.
Eight.
Cool. So that means you can capture or disarm an enemy. You don't get the 10 plus bonus, but you just get that. So yeah, you think it's basically that, like, it's like a like running leap up to like the kind of shoulders back of this larger robot, and then you're like where to like yanks a plug out, right, to shut down some of its controls. Like that's the is that about the size of it?
It's got a tiny port in its shoulder, and I actually put a finger into that port.
Okay, I see.
And because I have the specs of this thing, and that's where, and there's a kind of backdoor maintenance port in it. Nobody figured it would be possible to take advantage of this in a combat situation,
because no one's stupid enough to jump onto the back of
it's tiny,
robot.
And this thing is moving, and so I activate its emergency shutdown.
Nice.
Override. In fact, if I can override it, even better. But if not, I'll shut it down.
I think probably what we'll get is, you're probably able to shut down some of its systems, right? Without rendering it inert. So like you can shut off, it's like, motor functions and targeting system, right? Like basically leave it disarmed. But it's
right.
Probably it's going to be interested in talking to you, I think, as it's like, error, unexpected shutdown occurred. Identify yourself.
This unit's name is Rose. RS2.
RS2, you are not in my database. My designation is Syntax 212.
Understood.
Why are you interfering with my functioning?
You have malfunctioned, Syntax 212. You are not following accepted programming.
I was programmed to uncover resources for the Tetrachy. The greatest resource is here.
You were programmed to do this, notwithstanding threat to sentient life.
Certain casualties are deemed acceptable. What are you programmed to do?
Stop things like you, Captain.
there's like a like processing beep, and that's like, then it appears we may be at an impasse. What do you say to the captain?
Captain, this is a Tetrachy bot, and it was digging to find a resource here, and evidently it was the endangering of this is, well, no accident. At best, a complete disregard for the safety of the miners here. At worst, perhaps they were intended to be collateral damage. I can't tell.
Okay. So who do we know?
Systems are suppressed right now, but that's the best I can do at the moment.
Excellent job so far. That does change things slightly. Who paid us for this job, Alexei? Do we know?
The mining consortium. They don't want their mining equipment and miners endangered.
Okay. And the Tetrachy in this is just known as is it like a galactic council / federation / something?
It's the richest 4 families that kind of sit at the top of the economic ladder, and also have kind of like military and political power.
Okay. Are the Dranomirs like the 5th? And this is like
you're like one step lower than the Tetrarchs. Absolutely.
You keep hoping to make Tetrarch,
Yeah.
But that involves assassinating one of the other families.
Yeah, exactly.
You would definitely have moved in the circles with the Tetrarchs themselves, or like actually more likely their children, right?
Yeah, I think I'm like, oh, of course. Rose, if it seems reasonable enough, maybe let it know that you two also once had to serve a powerful family, but that's not the only option available to it.
So you can try talking it down,
or you could pass the comm link to that if you want me to talk to them. But I believe in your ability. Like, if you want to do a sway roll on it, I'll give you an edge with my captain move.
Whatever you think, Captain. This isn't the brightest unit in the solar system, but on the other hand, that may make it particularly resistant to argument.
I'm going to cut away for a moment to check on the rest of our crew. Hoyt, you were like out on the surface, helping to coordinate people. I think you see a small but determined-looking group of miners approaching you, and the woman who seems to be leading them, like, kind of gestures towards you and says, "Hey, is that your ship?" Pointing to the Pinion Wisp.
Yeah, that's ours.
How many can you take?
We're not leaving yet.
Well, we are. And she is walking towards your ship, kind of like you could keep up with her, but she's not particularly pausing.
Can I just calm Kadence and say you might want to hover?
You can, yeah.
Till we were ready to be picked up.
Kadence, what do you think? What do you do?
I flick on the monitor to see the crowd moving towards me, and I recognize that woman that's in charge of the group there. She's an old ally of mine.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I've got a name for her. Her name is Kesla.
Tesla. All right.
Go ahead and tell us about this old ally of yours. Actually, you first just declare them an old ally, and then you roll plus savvy.
Yeah, which is I'm just rolling it +2, right? Okay, boom. I'm gonna call this my not a name roll. Add 2. Boom, hit it. That is a 9.
Great. So you get to say something about why they are someone you can turn to for aid, and then you also tell us the complicating factor you've left out. You tell us, the players, the complicating factor you've left out.
Yes.
Your crewmates don't get to know that part.
Mm-hmm. I can turn to her for aid because she was brief, like she was essentially like a Padawan when she was a teenager.
Oh man.
Like she was she tried out for the order.
Did she wash out, or
she did? Yes, she washed out.
but she's got a connection that goes way back there.
Yes, yeah.
And what's the secret part of this that leads to you marking a condition?
Well, I mean, I was the deciding vote on whether she got in or not.
And she knows this, or you wonder if she knows this?
I think it's one of those things where you know what, like I want it to be a thing where, or maybe not even that I was the deciding vote, but that I told her, don't worry, you've got it, it's in the bag. Like, you know, maybe even like I was pushing for her, but the others were like, no. I like that better. Okay. I like that. I like that. Like I told her,
you gave her false hope.
Yes, I gave her false hope. Yeah, false hope is like Jedi all over. So yeah, that's awesome.
Pick an appropriate condition for that.
Where is that?
They are listed under your stats, and they give disadvantage on the stat above them. So shaken gives disadvantage to tough, addled gives disadvantage to savvy, chilly gives disadvantage to warm, and numb gives disadvantage to strange.
It's chilly. I've got to act like I've got to act like I'm above all this, being embarrassed by that. Because of course the order made the right decision. Yeah,
of course they did. There's you pull up, you get this image, right? Kesla leading this crowd of miners, headed towards the ship, and then for a moment she like pauses, and like there's the smallest of shudders, as if she sensed something. But then she's with further determination moving forward. She says, you kind of like calling over her shoulder to Hoyt. No offense, but if your people's first plan doesn't go right, I want to get my people off this rock.
And I just say, if our plan doesn't go right, there won't be a rock to get off of. Very matter-of-factly, like I'm merely stating facts.
Is this like coming out of the ship's like speakers, or?
Oh, I think. Oh no, she totally hears it in her head.
She hears it in her head.
Can we do that? I mean, can we just do that? Can we just do a little strange where she just hears a whisper in her head?
Yeah. She hears a whisper in her head. Perfect. Yeah. So Hoyt, they haven't been deterred, and they're headed towards the ship. Do you want to interpose yourself, or otherwise get get something done here, or there's go for it.
I mean, Kadence has the ship. I feel like. Yeah, I'm just gonna head the other way because I don't want them turning around and trying to grab me as leverage to be led onto the ship. So I'm heading the other way, which they'd be crazy to follow me
towards the explosions.
Yeah,
nice. So you'll come up like next to the captain, who's keeping an eye on Rose. Oh yeah.
Well, can I actually can be like, is that it? Whoa, is that a syntax model? And I want to use my wide-eyed wonder.
Beautiful. Let's do it. When you take in the world with bright and curious eyes, roll plus warm. And you have maxed your warm out at +3. So what could go wrong?
GM say that before we roll just to jinx things.
You tried.
Ooh, I did get a 7. So barely.
You get one question. And it'll give you advantage to act on that information. Remind me of that. I may not remember all your advantage, but don't let me forget when it's relevant.
What here is worth a closer look?
Yeah. So you know something about these syntax models, right? Like they're the Goliaths of the Tetrachy's robot infantry, so yeah, definitely definitely interesting to see one here. But I think your gaze kind of like falls from the robot right down to the kind of asteroid outcrop that it seems so intent on hammering away at, right? And you see where cracks have formed, where this like surprisingly adamant chunk of asteroid has started to crumble under the concussive blows of the robot, and within the asteroid there's just it's only for a moment, right? Like it just like for a moment glows bright green, and then seems to subside. But that's definitely worth a closer look. Asteroids aren't supposed to do that. There is something glowing and fascinating within the chunk of asteroid the robot was hammering at. Does that work for you? All right. Yeah, and do you want to convey that to anyone, or is that a special insight Hoyt's gonna keep close to his chest?
I mean, I think I might shout it to the captain as I run towards it.
As you run forward towards the scene here.
Yeah, towards the green, wherever I said. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So
get in there and see what it is.
Captain, your cook and medic is just charging right into the kill zone because he saw something shiny.
Yeah. I think that I am. I think I just go straight. I relay straight to Rose. I'm like, sorry, Hoyt saw something. Looks like there might be something valuable in there. Hold off the bot from using weapons as much as possible. Hoyt's on your tail, approaching rapidly.
I have Syntax weapon system shut down. Doubtless what Hoyt saw is whatever this thing was programmed to try to retrieve. It's almost certainly very valuable, but also potentially very dangerous. And with regards to your prior question, Captain, I think I will patch you through to talk to this thing.
Okay.
I don't trust myself.
Well,
So you're connected. Go ahead.
Thank you, Rose.
Identify yourself.
I am Eris Dronomir, current captain of the Pinion Wisp. We have been tasked by the civilians you are currently potentially going to destroy to stop you from doing so. I understand there's a valuable resource that you need to acquire. Is there a way we could help you do that without destroying the life around us, without destroying the life forms on this planet or asteroid?
Interesting. Would you say you are kind of applying any kind of threatening pressure to this robot, given that of course you've already had a crewmate shut off his weapons, or are you turning on the charm? Like, is this about toughness or warmth as you are trying to push this unit to work with you here?
I think that this is warm in the maybe like a robot sense of warm, wherein I'm like, I heard what you want. I acknowledge that. I'm giving you a different option that may fulfill your objective. And then if he's just like, that's stupid, I can be like, all right, Rose, zap it. Like,
so you're holding a threat in reserve, but you're not explicitly being threatening, on the line, right? Yeah. Syntax is like, processing your proposal. The modifications suggested would reduce the efficiency of the operation, by at least 20 to 30%. right, and but I will have you roll to see if
Okay.
whether this ultimately gets through to any
Yeah, Rose
degree.
throws in remarks and says a prolonged 2000 volt shock to your primary motivator would impair the operation of this by more than 20%.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was prepared to be like. You know what would really impair efficiency if we blasted your head off?
I mean, that would be throw your weight around. So
That would, yeah.
And
But
did
no,
you? I mean, Rose could actually spend an edge to give a bonus to the roll. I mean, if she actually says
If-
that to
yeah, though I
to
think
nudge it.
the bonus isn't necessarily needed because I'm looking
I
at
just rolled a 10.
Oh, okay. Oh, is that bonus before or after?
it is
How do edge bonuses work? I
I
see. I'll give a
it's-
+1. Is it before or after? Yeah.
you know what I've played it as after. I guess I didn't write. I guess I should have written that down,
Oh.
but I've played it as after.
Okay.
Yeah, bump our roll by 1. That's excellent. That's much better.
Oh yeah. With mutual trust, it can be even better. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that was a 10 plus.
Yep.
We are looking at turn on the charm. Cool. Yeah, on a hit, you soften their attitude and get an opportunity. The like kind of like syntax that's like proposal processed. A slight downgrade in efficiency is acceptable to me if your cooperation can be guaranteed.
Ooh.
Assist me in excavating my prize, and I will desist from using the forces that have destabilized this asteroid.
Certainly. Thank you. Thank you so much. We will be I have one crewmate heading that direction and one currently with you. Rose, you heard that? We're gonna help this bot excavate what he needs. And I want to see if I can communicate to somebody that like maybe there's a little bit that we can take as well. Like I wonder if I need to say that to the robot, like certainly we can cooperate as long as we can take a small piece as our cooperation.
So you're kind of explicitly having that be part of the terms that you get to take a cut of the pie here. Yeah, sure. I mean, he's not in a great negotiating position.
Yes.
So,
Captain, I would say I'm impressed, but
hey,
I didn't see another outcome except the one you achieved.
Except what? Did you say? Sorry, I couldn't hear.
I would say I was impressed, but what is the phrase? I didn't expect any less.
I think she just kind of chuckles and goes, wouldn't be anything if the weapons weren't down.
Rose, it sounds like you are doubling down in your trust in the captain.
Yes.
The captain can mark XP on that track with Rose there. That works for me. Yeah, and Hoyt, you're headed right in there. Just like, is your plan to like try to pull apart the rock manually, or how are you going to get through this apparently quite durable bit of asteroid?
I mean, I saw the flash, so there's got to be a path somewhere through.
I think he means the rocks.
Did you grab do we have some kind of hammer or pick or something?
Oh yeah, we're in a mine. There's got to be mining equipment around.
You just
they have demo charges.
I mean, you
have to find one. Quote.
You've seen that the type of force the robot was applying was causing problems elsewhere on the asteroid. So I don't know if you want to use a detonator or if you want to see if a little more little more precise work with a pickaxe helps out here.
Yeah, I just need a small opening to get. I'm a lot smaller than that robot, so
That's true.
Well, or like if you toss a charge down the hole in the right spot, and you manage to pick it off through that tiny hole, exactly where the explosion needs to happen, that would be just like shooting womp rats.
Man,
I like it.
When you line up an impossible shot and take it, roll plus strange. It's funny because, of course, the 10 plus says you set off an incredible chain reaction, but in some ways you really don't want to do that here.
There's different. Incredible can mean a lot of different things.
Yeah, that's fair. We'll say it's plausible that that there's a chain reaction on a miss too, but just a worse one.
Right.
Cool. Do you want to go for it, or do you want to attempt to like shooting womp rats to deal with
Sure.
this obstacle? Because that could be a fun
Yeah, you have a phaser.
ending with a bang here.
You have an energy weapon.
Really
What do you
cool.
need a pickaxe for?
And we can add edge after if needed.
And I have advantage. From
You
my-
do. You're working on you have advantage from Wide-Eyed Wonder, so that is that's 2d6 plus 1, but actually take 3d6, and you're going to count the 2d6 you like best.
Okay. Here we go. 12.
Nice. Yeah. So it's a bullseye and an incredible chain reaction, but not the type where the whole asteroid blows up, because that's more of a miss result on this. So yeah, I think like with this skillful use of a single like explosive charge and a blast from a plas pistol, you kind of like blow apart this this outcropping that had been in the way, and expose what is inside. Rose, what's one striking detail about the statue made of like a glowing green stone that you have that your companion has just uncovered here?
It's the eye has trouble looking at it. It splits into multiple images that recombine. It does something peculiar to your optic nerve.
Nice. So hard to look at directly. Eris, what's one other kind of fascinating and kind of clearly unearthly detail of the statue that's just been revealed?
I think that when you can take in the glimpses that you can see, like the outline is obviously like changing, like each time you look at it, or it's like, oh, I thought that it was standing, like this, and then it's like slightly in a different position, almost like it's a bunch of stacked alternate realities of the same statue on top of each other.
That's awesome. So it's a figure, right? Like it's a human shaped thing, it seems, but the pose seems to change every time you manage to focus on it. And one more kind of just detail about what makes this a kind of once in a lifetime find from Kadence. What do you want to add to this painting here?
When you look away from it, you forget about it very quickly. You look away and like and you're talking to someone and you're like, wait a minute, why were we worried about what was over there? And then you look back and then you see it, and then it floods back to you everything that's going on.
Nice. And the and kind of like syntax, the military bot says, the data were reliable. The hand of hope is here. This will mean everything. And that is when a number of ships appear, above the asteroid, and there is a just like hail sent out on on all frequencies. Civilians on Eurydice 429, this is Captain Ulysses Middleton of the Tetrachy fleet. Please complete your evacuation post haste. The rogue device on the asteroid is too dangerous. We are going to need to deploy a singularity bomb in T-5. Complete your evacuation before T-5. Right. So
I would like to hail. Can I hail Captain Ulysses immediately?
I think this is our cliffhanger ending.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I will keep in mind though that the
Okay,
first thing we turn to next time is Eris Dronomir hailing Captain Ulysses. But yeah, I think that's where I want to have session 1 come to a cliffhanger close. So thank you for playing. Oh, let's do end of session stuff. There is a end of session move listed here in the basic moves. So each crewmate should choose either name a crewmate you feel closer to and give them a trust token, or name a crewmate who's stressing you out and give them a tension token. And if you give a token to someone who's already got a token from you, they mark an XP for that. And you can either give them the same token, doubling down, right, or switch the token. You like reach across, flip over the card, or in this case, select the opposite thing from the drop down menu. We'll go right across the character keeper. Cadence. Is there another crewmate that you're feeling trust towards or feeling stressed out by?
Man, that's tough. I feel like that void step that I saw Rose do, that freaked me out. She's more attuned than I thought she was. She's much further down the path than I realized. So I think that's stressing me out.
Yeah. Okay. Rose, mark a. Let's see. Yeah, you already had attention, so mark an XP there. And Hoyt, handing out a trust or attention to a crewmate that deserves it.
I will give trust to Rose because I did run by a military robot and didn't get blasted. So
yeah, she
was doing something
extremely successfully shut down its weapons, and that gave you the opening you needed. Let's see. Eris, you're up next.
Yeah. I think that I know we probably want to play it out a little further, but I feel like it's definitely she's leaning toward trusting Rose because she showed also a lot of, I don't know, self-awareness. Like it seems like she doubts herself in certain ways, but she was willing to also hold back and seems to be navigating around herself as well with the kind of self-awareness that makes her trust further. And she didn't, take this and run with it. Instead, her goal was the goal of the mission and the ship, just like everyone else's. So
yeah, that's totally great. I mean, and these can go back and forth, depending on how you're feeling about the crewmate each day, right? And it's totally legit to swap it from tension to trust after a successful mission here, and that should give Eris XP also from the
really? So does that? Oh no, or that just puts XP on the tracker for Roses.
Yeah, sorry, that gives Rose gets XP on the Eris track there. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. So if you flip it or if you double down, that gives you a little XP after it's already been established.
Yes. Yeah, and you have to fill up all of these. You have to fill up these tracks of XP to advance, including with the ship. Okay. So I'm gonna have the ship hand trust and tension out at the end of this. But Rose, to you next. Anyone you want to hand out trust or tension to a crewmate?
I already handed out to Captain during the thing.
That's legit. You know,
So-
you kind of get another opportunity to do so as part of the end of session.
But
move.
I'm going to hand out attention with Hoyt because he
Hmm.
charged right in and took a shot at this
This is beautiful.
horrible unknown thing, which could have just been a mountain of high explosive for all he knew.
Yep.
That the robot could have survived easily and he would have been vaporized by. So I don't know that sits well.
I like that Hoyt gave you a trust for giving him the cover to do this, and you give him attention for just going in guns blazing on this. That makes sense to me. I think the ship's going to give a trust to Eris for like cool as a cucumber. Or sorry, that's not what I meant to do. Apologies. The trust from the ship is for Kadence, for the cool-headed piloting to getting us down onto the asteroid. I think the ship is going to give attention to Hoyt though, because when there was what seemed like something that might brew into and might still brew into an attempted takeover of the ship. Hoyt was like, nah, not my problem, right? And went elsewhere to make unlikely shots and reveal statuettes. So the ship feels neglected.
So you marked an XP there, even though it was the first time it went from no listing to trust.
I'm gonna do that just to get some XP going, but I will think about how I want that to work exactly. Sure. But the ship, because I'm doing a lot of other things, the ship hands out fewer of these.
Oh, sure, yeah, totally cool.
So for the moment, I'm going to play it this way. Thank you so much for playing, and we'll be back next week. But till then, I am stopping this recording. So anyone who's been listening along, thanks, and stay safe out there.